We continue to preview the 2025 college football season. Our next stop is Orange City, Iowa, as we get to visit with Matt McCarty, who is heading into year 10, finishing up a decade now as the head coach for the Northwestern Red Raiders. Coach, I don't know if that makes you feel older. I know there are some years along the way that probably helped to boost that. But last year, 9-3, 2024, a 9-3 record, 8th straight trip to the playoffs, and you get a big win at Montana Tech, a tough loss at Grandview, eventual national champion in the playoffs there. Tell us a little bit about 2024.
Yeah, last year, well, first of all, thanks for having me on. It's always great visiting with you, and I know that means the start of football season's coming up, and
Thank you.
and so it's always exciting. It's new things are starting again and getting ready to kick off. But yeah, last season, I'm really proud of our guys. It was a challenging season, and if you try to just compare it against the 2 years before that, where we ended up in the national championship game, you might look at it and say maybe it wasn't as a successful season as those two, but really the growth that group had throughout the season and some of the challenges and obstacles that they overcame throughout the year. Really proud of the way the guys kind of just stayed true to themselves, stayed true to who we are, kept battling, and really we're playing our best football at the end of the year, which is always our goal. The quarterback change, losing Jalen Gramstead over the summer, that really impacted our team. We ended up having to play 2 true freshman quarterbacks who did a phenomenal job. But it's just freshmen. You're working through freshman mistakes and first times playing certain games and game experiences. But our guys rallied around them, and to go on the road in the postseason and beat a really good Montana Tech football team after a long road trip, I think is a testament to our guys and to the work that they put in and the type of team that they believe they could be. And I think that really sets us up for a great 2025.
Coach, I'd like to talk about that a little bit more and let you elaborate on that a little bit. You alluded to the fact that Jalen Gramstead had stepped out, and the timing of it was a little bit interesting because it was mid to late summer, and he was the defending NAIA Player of the Year. And I know you work around things like that in the spring, and so you make the adjustment. You have 2 true freshman quarterbacks that are there and getting some reps. You had a number of upperclassmen along the way too, and I say this not to lay it out for you to give you an excuse. And I know as a coach you're never going to take an excuse or anything like that. Things happen over the course of a season, but have you dealt with any years like that in the past, and what do you take away from it?
No, in the first 9 years, there really hadn't been a year like that. And, losing the National Player of the Year and your best player, we'd left that spring football. And I really felt like we had the best team that we had. And, we won the championship in 22, or national runners up in 23. And I really felt like last summer that team was the best team that we had. We were outstanding defensively, and with Jalen at quarterback throughout spring ball, I thought our offense was really dangerous. And so that was a change. That was a really big change. And you just had to, figure out what our strengths of our 2 freshman quarterbacks, what those were, and really try to play build our offense around their strengths and play to their strengths the best we could. And so that was a challenge, just because we didn't have a lot of time. We didn't have them here over the summer. When fall camp started, it's like, all right, we got 3-4 weeks to figure out what we're good at. I thought our guys handled it really well. I thought our coaching staff did a nice job of putting our guys in positions to be successful. And then we lost Tanner Scouten, who was one of our better receivers, I think, in week 3 for the rest of the season. And then that changed the dynamics of our offense a little bit more. And so there were some challenges. I thought those challenges and some of those obstacles that came up throughout the season made us stronger. It built our depth. It made us a better team come postseason play. And our team was, just ready for challenges, anything that came their way, and they knew they could handle it.
Well, let's look ahead to 2025 then. You mentioned quarterbacks. Connor McQuillan, by the way, in the backfield, he also moves on, and he was a staple for you from the running back position. And that I lead into that for running backs on the roster right now, and we're recording in late July. On the roster right now, 9 running backs, and Coach, all of them are freshmen and sophomores. Same thing with the quarterbacks too, along with the 2 you were talking about. 9 quarterbacks on the roster, all of them freshmen and sophomores. So there are a lot of new faces on that offense.
There are, and I'm really excited about those groups. It's been kind of a unique situation in my time and my tenure as a head coach. We've really had 3 running backs during that time. Jacob Calagonis was a 4-year starter for us, and then Connor McQuillan and Logan Meyer were both in the backfield the last 5 years for us. And I'm really excited. That running back group is probably the most talented group that we've had in a long time at Northwestern. And some of those freshmen will step on campus and be able to compete right away, and that's what we wanted in that recruiting class. There's some really talented football players in that group, and I thought our guys, 2 of our redshirt freshmen from last year, Solomon T. and Eli Carpenter, had really good springs as redshirt freshmen. Those guys competed really well. Love the way that they run the football and what they bring to our offense. But some of these freshmen will get on the field, and we're not afraid to play freshmen. We've had some really impactful freshmen over the years, but we've got some guys that we think will be really special football players. And so that's exciting. Quarterback room the same way. Hayden and Colby really grew throughout the spring. You could see some big steps forward in the spring, which is what you want to see. Dylan Elrod was a transfer quarterback from the University of Sioux Falls, and then Bo Bush is a transfer from the University of South Dakota that have joined that room. But yeah, it's a young group. It's fun to see those guys push each other, though. Like, they have great relationships with each other, that they learn from one another, and really just try to find a way to make the team better. And so I like the competition. I like the work that those guys have put in over the summer, and I think we're in a good spot going into fall.
We're visiting now with Matt McCarty from Northwestern here on Midwest Sports Net, where we talk about small college sports and more throughout the Midwest and beyond. And I encourage you, please take some time to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Coach, heading into year 10, we talked about some changes on the offensive side, defensive side as well, the entire team, because we'll mention in special teams too. But Cody Mosier, Cole Telford, both led the team, 4 interceptions apiece last year. They're both graduated, moving on. Parker Fryer graduated, moving on. Some of the staples of that defense and some of the leadership on that defense as well, moving on. However, Cody's not going too far. As a matter of fact, he's staying right there. He's going to be a part of your staff, so that's a quick turnaround there. His brother Brett promoted to defensive coordinator. So Mosier's have been a part of that team, I know, for many, many, many years and generations too. I think the turnaround for Cody, though, it's so quick that among all the coaches' pictures, he's still in his playing uniform on the coaching staff. So you got to get him a picture in dressed out like a coach too. It's a quick turnaround there.
It is, and he's done an awesome job with our secondary, and it's been fun and to plug him in on the back end of our secondary and our defense and work with those guys. Super knowledgeable kid, and I think our players had a ton of respect for him when he played, because he really understood things. He played corner for us. He played safety for us, so he knows the secondary in and out, and has been a really good addition to our staff. Yeah, his brother Brett has moved up to being our defensive coordinator. I do feel old at times now. Our entire coaching staff are guys that I had recruited and have played for me since I was a head coach. And it's a pretty young group, but it's good. They bring some great energy. They do some really good things. Our guys love playing for them, and just excited what that group has brought to us. Defensively, yeah, losing guys like Cody and Parker Fryer, guys that have been staples of our defense for many years, is tough. And there's a leadership void. What really excites me is defensively, really hanging our hat on how we play up front. And I think the strength of our defense last year was really our defensive line. And that'll definitely be our strength going into next year. Tristan Voss and Jacob Dragster are both returning All-Americans in the interior of our D-line and really the anchor of our defense. Those two are problem. They cause problems for other teams inside and up front. And, I think that allows us to break in some younger guys on the back end of our defense in the secondary. But we have some experience yet too. Kyler Fritz started the national championship game for us a couple years ago as a true freshman safety. Had an interception in that game. Has really rotated in, played a lot at safety for us. And Luke Yeltma has played a lot of corner for us over the last couple of years as well. Both of those guys are upperclassmen and have some good experience. And then linebacker Ben Egley's has been a staple for our defense too the last 3 years, and an outstanding football player, great leader, really good tone setter for us. So really like the returners that we have. I love what those guys bring to our team. And we have some really good tone setters on that side of the ball. The expectations are really high over there. But our defensive line is 8-9 deep up front with guys that can cause some problems. So that's always a good place to start.
Absolutely. Coach, I alluded to special teams. Eli Stater, who has been a stalwart for you as well, kicker, punter, he's expended his eligibility and moves on. So tell us a little bit about special teams and who or what we might see there.
Yeah, Eli's kicked a ton for us over the last 5 years. The best kicker we've ever had in school history. Just a phenomenal kicker and punter for us too, as well, the last couple of years. And so on the special team side, yeah, there's gonna be some new faces out there. We've got a couple returning kickers. Jack Sadusky, we had Miguel Gonzalez join us from our soccer team, and then Gianna Bennett was a redshirt freshman for us for last year. She's got a really good leg. She was our backup kicker last year, got in a few games and kicked for us at times, but she does an outstanding job. And then Giovanni Cabango is an incoming freshman that was an all-state kicker in the state of Iowa. It also has a really good leg. And so we feel like we're going to have really good competition there. That's a spot that we really don't take for granted. As a defensive coach myself, when you punt the ball or when you kick off, those are the first plays of defense, and field position is so big. And then it's such a good weapon to have a great kicker when you can get across the 50-yard line and be in scoring position. That's huge. And Eli won us a playoff game with a 52-yard field goal last year and made a 60-yard field goal. That's a nice weapon to have. And I do feel like within the kickers that we have, having watched them in practice, we have some really strong legs in that group that will be really good weapons for us as well.
All right, Coach, as I appreciate you being on the channel and a regular here on Midwest Sports Net. Always thankful to have you stop by. We've been getting to know our coaches maybe just a little bit more. And the question of the summer this summer has been favorite 80s song or 80s band?
Ooh, 80s band. I think they'd qualify as an 80s band, but I would have to go with Bon Jovi would be my favorite 80s band. That's got to be late 80s, right?
It is late 80s, but they do qualify. Yeah, we'll take that.
There we go. That has to be my favorite. I could probably go through the whole, I think it's the Bon Jovi, the New Jersey album. I could probably recite most of those. I'm the youngest of a bunch of older brothers, and so I listened to a lot of that growing up just because that's what they were playing.
Absolutely. All right. I think visiting with a bunch of people my age, we used to go out on Sunday nights after church, and Wanted Dead or Alive was playing at Pizza Hut back then. So
oh yeah,
when Pizza Hut looked like Pizza Hut in the 80s, but
exactly.
We'll just leave it like
Pizza Hut was a staple back then. That was
it was
exactly what you're talking about.
It definitely was. Well, Coach, season gets underway. Week 1 is August 30th, Saturday. You all are at home to take on Waldorf, and it's a big day too because you're honoring Coach Larry Corver. They're at Corver Field, the appropriately named Corver Field. And he's being recognized and saluted for being part of the Hall of Fame. Then on the road for a couple of weeks after a early bye, September 13th at Mount Marty and September 20th at Dakota Wesleyan. So tell us about the opening to your schedule.
It is a really unique opening with that early season bye. And we were actually supposed to have a week 0 bye as well. And we were having trouble scheduling a non-conference game, couldn't find opponents. So then we thankfully got Waldorf to move our game from later in the season to week 0. Just so we could play one of the first couple of weeks. And that August 30 game will be special. The College Football Hall of Fame will be at the game to honor Larry Corver, and he's going to get inducted to the College Football Hall of Fame in December. And the impact that he's had on so many people's lives that have come through Northwestern and Northwestern football is amazing. And he's still around and still very impactful in our program. I'd love to talk to him, and he's been impactful in terms of my coaching and how I coach, and the high school coaches that I had, the college coaches that I had, all played for him. And the thread of his influence runs through our program and many people that have been connected with Raider football for a long time. So that's going to be a really special night on August 30 to honor him and recognize him. And then we have a bye week, and then we got a couple road games. And Mount Marty, I think, has really improved. They were a really tough team last year, their first winning season. Coach Micheletti's doing a great job over there. And so to go on the road, Yankton's a fun place to play. It's a fun environment. It's a football town. And so out of the gate, we're going to have to be ready to play. And so some of our young guys, I really do like the bye week after the first game so we can get some of our young guys a college game under their belt. And then we have a bye week to improve and work on some of the things that maybe we need to improve at. And then we'll hop right back into a grind again of our GPAC schedule.
All right. We look forward to it. We enjoy following the Red Raiders here on Midwest Sports Net. We'll do it again in 2025. Coach Matt McCarty, head coach for the Northwestern Red Raiders, again, heading into year 10. Thank you so much for taking time with us today here on Midwest Sports Net.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. God bless, Joey.